Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my deep dive into a very intriguing and educational deck called the Egyptian Tarot by the Brotherhood of Light. And this deck is based on a deck that was created initially in black and white by C.C. Zane, also for the Brotherhood of Light. And I have both the charcoal gray and white version and the more modern, still in print, mass market version. Did I say it was in color, the new one? In color. And so what do? Just in case you're new here, although we're almost at the end of this deep dive series, every night before I go to bed, I riffle shuffle the heck out of my easily replaceable color version of the Egyptian Tarot. And I pull a card asking the question, what would I benefit from giving my attention to the following day? And then I pull the matching card from my very out of print charcoal gray and white version of the deck by C.C. Zane, and I look at the cards and I look at the differences and the similarities. And then I ask a deck that I'm getting more familiar with. I haven't mastered it yet by any means, but I'm getting more familiar with it. The Tarot of the Holy Light by the wonderful, brilliant creator, Christine Payne-Towler. And I do a 3-card spread with that deck. The first card is the significance of the daily draw card for me the following day. The second card is the challenge, either positive or negative. And then the third card is the advice. Now, significance, challenge, advice. Typical 3-card spread. And then I go to sleep and I wake up. And the next day I live my life. And at the end of the day, I come back and I look at the cards, I look at the significances, I look at the zodiacal information, this astrological information, and how they match up or perhaps don't. And then I do this video for you and for me. And here we go. Let me show you the daily draw card in 2 different versions right now. If you've been following along this series with me, you'll remember that yesterday's card was card number 20, the Judgment card. And today's daily draw card you just saw was 21, the World. Now, isn't that an interesting progression, right? From Judgment to the World, right here in real time. And so, what is the World? Let me show these cards to you again as best as I can while I'm describing them. Them, because one is the color version, one is the charcoal gray and white version. And you see that the attribution for this card is the sun, right? So that means that the World points to the sun, which resides in Leo, my sun sign, right? The sun resides in Leo, from which these fixed fire's vital attributes enter our world. So we got fixed fire coming in through the world, into our natal charts, and into our lives, and into the question we're asking of the tarot. And the image that we see on both cards is beautiful. They're basically the same image, except again, one is color, one is black and white. The color version is easier to see, frankly speaking, although I love to pieces my charcoal gray and white old version. But yeah, the modern version is easier to see. But what do we see? We see a woman playing a harp with 3 strings. Above her head, there's a wreath of 12 flowers with 3 petals, right? And those 3 petals are the 3 aspects of the soul, I believe. And you see above around the wheel of flowers, which again, 12 flowers, 12 signs of the zodiac, the cycle of the year, that's all implied in that. The male human head in one of the corners has a serpent coming out of the forehead, which is there for mental fertility. Yeah. And in the center of that wheel, Does it look like a bird to you? Well, according to the creator, it's not a bird in the center, but it's a winged phallus and a yoni, giving us that male-female union here in the center of the wheel above. The wheel above the girl playing the harp. And the girl is there to signify purity of life. The harp playing signifies devotion to higher laws and prayerful aspirations. The harp itself is harmony of body, intellect, and emotions. That's why there are the 3 strings there. Harmony of body, intellect, and emotions. The lion around the wheel, we usually see the four fixed zodiacal signs, or we see the 4 winds, or we see the 4 evangelists, or we see the 4 heads of the seraphim. We see 4 creatures around the world card and around the Wheel of Fortune card, right? And what are those heads? Now you'll see that the order of the heads is a little bit different in these cards. Yeah, instead of the lion being down here and the bull being down here, the lion's here, the bull's here, and the eagle, which is usually up here, is here. The human head is in the place that usually is in many Tarot de Marseille, in Pamela Coleman Smith's art. So the lion is there to represent, in this deck, creative forces and courage, and also the element fire, yeah, and also Leo. The bull is there for the necessity of labor in all progress, and it would be the element of earth. The eagle, interestingly, sex has been turned toward the path to spirituality. So sex for spirituality, what, tantric sex? Maybe. But that's there for the element of water. And then the human head is intelligence and intuition, which guides to highest spiritual possibilities. And that is, of course, the air element. So that's the world. That's the image we're seeing on this world. We've got a lot of these ideas of intellect and a mental fertility and the joining of things, the joining of sexes, actually, not genders, sexes, the male and the female, the phallus and the yoni. We also have creative forces, progress, aspects of self, we have the unity. The idea of unity is here, very strong in this image. Now, being card number 21, it also harkens back to the 21st letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which is Shin, which can mean tooth or teeth, but also steadfastness and faith. Yeah, one who is careful with their actions, strength of character, changelessness, the changeless one, which would be like the eternal natures that we are, the changeless, can evolve perhaps, but doesn't change, doesn't waffle, right? But it could also be a change for the good. Like I said, evolution is also possible with Shin. Also, the year of 4 seasons, which we kind of have right here in that wheel up above the head of the beautiful, pure girl playing the harp of harmony of body, intellect, and emotions. And also, Shin has the number of 300, which is indicative of divine power. Yeah, Hebrew and numbers are very closely intertwined, especially if you are a Kabbalist. And so the number 300 is apparently associated with divine power. We also have a rune associated with this card, which is the 21st rune, which would be Laguz. Laguz looks like it looks like half of an arrow, I want to say. And so Laguz, not so, but Laguz is an indicator of water bodies like lakes, rivers, but also just water, energy, renewal, regeneration, world world card attributes, right? Regeneration, renewal. Also dreams, fantasies, the unknown, the hidden, the deep, as in like the deep of the water, but also the deep of the unconscious, which is interesting, and also achieving goals. Yeah, we often see the world as a culmination card, and that's also part of Laguz. So what does the guidebook tell us about the world card, and how could that possibly relate to me for today? So, well, in the guidebooks, we have ideas of things like success or attainment, application of willpower. Yeah, Leos and the sun, they're willful elements, right? That fixed fire is willful. Attainment through perseverance. We're asking that we know ourselves to know success, to utilize our creative imagination, kind of a leonine thing to do. Strength from harmonious actions, kind of like that girl playing the harp there, right? Take pleasure in our work. Enjoy what we do. Perfection through persistence. We get it right when we keep doing it. Like, well, I haven't talked about it much here, but like the sourdough project that I'm doing right now. Synchronizing body, mind, and emotions, like those 3 strings of the harp. Celebrating as celebrities as friends, that one just is like out of left field to me. Masculine methods, okay, yeah, the sun is a very masculine, we associate, in the cultures that this set of cards come from, which we will call European cultures rather than actually Egyptian cultures, although I think Egypt would also place the sun as a masculine entity. But yeah, a male entity, I should say, not a masculine one, a male one. So the sun is attributed to with maleness, I believe, in many of the cultures that have come together to create these images. Overbearing actions of superiors. So it's like, wow, that's out of left field. But anyway, so those are the attributes. Some of them seemed potentially meaningful for me for the following day, and a lot of them completely not. For example, celebrities as friends. Although now that I think about it, there might be a little bit of no, I'm not talking about like Beyonce celebrity, but there are a couple of celebrities in the tarot sphere that popped up for me today. Okay, so we'll get to that. Teaser. So I did a 3-card spread, right? I did a 3-card spread. And let me show you those 3 cards right now. The 3 cards you saw from left to right were the Page of Cups, the Hierophant, and then, the Page of Cups, the 7 of Discs, and then the Hierophant. And the 7 of Discs and the Hierophant were both reversed. The Page of Cups, the first card, was the only one upright. And if you've been following along this deep dive, you will already know that every time I shuffle, have I shown the backs of these cards to you in this series? I'm not sure, but I like the backs to the Tarot of the Holy Light. So yes, and this is an upright back. So the backs are, as they would say, non-reversible, but the deck is intended to be worked with reversals. And the idea of backs being non-reversal is meaningless to me, personally, because of the way I work with cards. Now, if you're if you're a person who will fan the cards out and look at them to choose, then that could be meaningful to you. That card backs could indicate things to you, but I don't work with them that way. I cut the deck and then I just draw the cards in order after I shuffle them. Yeah, so backs being reversible, unreversible has no meaning for me. But I like these backs. We've got the sun and the moon, the sun in the morning and the moon at night. And so every time from the first day that I shuffled this deck, from the very first shuffle, when I riffle shuffled, I would take the deck, I would cut the deck in half, I would turn half of it around and riffle shuffle, and then cut the deck, turn half of it around and riffle shuffle. I was shuffling in reversals every time I riffle shuffle the deck. When I overhand, I don't do that, but every riffle shuffle, and I do 8 riffle shuffles every time I do a full shuffle. So yeah, I'm reversing and then re-reversing and then re-reversing the cards all of the time. And so that's why sometimes when they all come up upright, it's a little bit of a surprise. Sometimes when they come up all 3 in reverse, like yesterday, it's also a surprise. Today we got 1 upright, 2 reverse. So what do we have? We've got this gorgeous Page of Cups. And this is the first time the Page of Cups has shown up. No, it's not the first time. I am lying to you with these lips. This is the second time that the Page of Cups has appeared for me. It appeared for me on January 25th, which was the day after we finished the big project at winter camp that I taught at. And I started using tarot with students on that day, which is interesting because the Page of Cups does indicate summer. And also this page serves the Queen of Cups. All the pages in the deck of the Tarot of the Holy Light are servants of their queens, and their queens are all the cardinal sign of their element. So this is the cardinal sign of water, which would be the Queen of Cups, which would be Cancer. I'm sorry. So the Queen of Cups is Cancer. Yes, that's where I was trying to go to. So this page serves the Queen of Cups in all of her summertime glory. And so we have this page with, you notice that there's a hole in the sky, that there's a ring of clouds forming a hole in the sky from which divine waters pour out and fill our world. Yeah, I'll have this beautiful, beautiful little Page of Cups, but not a young page, right? This page looks to be at least past middle age to my eyes. We've got moons, both top and bottom. We have a sun, radiant sun behind the head of the page. All of the pages in this deck also carry alchemical symbols with them. And I'm not good with alchemical symbols, so I'm going to just leave it at that. Beautiful page. I love this page. And what does the page refer to? The page in this deck is emotionally available, expressive, and honest. He can anticipate other people's needs because he, she, and they can, because we're all pages, doesn't matter what body we inhabit, whether it's a male body, a female body, a trans body, a body in transition, whatever. Yeah, whatever we claim to be our body, we are all pages, we're all knights, we're all queens, we're all kings. I, you, and everybody else have all of that within us. So we have this Page of Cups, and this Page of Cups can read people very well. And so this page can anticipate their needs. But he also stays informed. This page is a listener. This page listens to news and remembers the news and is able to organize the information to be useful for him, her, or them. Because this page also has all of the indoor skill sets, according to the guidebook, the indoor skill sets of like art and cooking and music and poetry and maybe sewing or weaving and did I say cooking, baking? Yeah, things that I'm I wouldn't claim art very much, but things like baking, theater, a little bit of music as like singing. I do those things. I have some of those skill sets, and I would imagine also reading cards would be an indoor skill set. This page is also sensitive to reading people, even if they are new to them. So when I said the page can read people, it's not the kind of the reading of people over time all of the time. The page can also read somebody, a new person who walks in the door. This page is poetic, mystical, emotionally open. And because they're emotionally open, they don't have so many barriers. They're also open to their own experience and their own internal oceans of unconscious and collective conscious wisdom. Their inner high priestess. They have access to that. Yeah? So that's helping me unpack this card of things like success, attainment, knowing yourself for success, utilizing that creative imagination that is available to this Page of Cups. Now, taking pleasure in this kind of work, I would imagine, taking pleasure in the kind of work of indoor skills, and also reading people and understanding people, seeing the truth of people. And some of that came into play, I think, for me today. And so, to help me get some, to get the challenge for me, what would be the challenge? And I think this one was a negative challenge, something that could block my way, was this, and it's a beautiful card. Let me show it to you upright. We've got the 7 of discs, and you see the tree in the center and the 7 gorgeously colored discs around the tree. And you see at the bottom that we have Saturn and we have Virgo. Why is Virgo there with Saturn? Well, it's because the 7 of discs points to the Capricorn decadent of Virgo and its sub-ruler Saturn, from which the cardinal aspect of mutable Earth's vital attributes enter our world. So we've got the cardinal aspect of mutable Earth. Now the Capricorn aspect of Virgo's vital attributes entering our world, and those attributes are being carried in by Saturn, the harsh one, the limiter one, the one of clarity and cutting and rules and regulations as well, which Virgo can swing with, even though Saturn is really the planet for Capricorn in the Earth suits, in the Earth element, I mean. Now, because this card was reversed, we also get not a compliment but a detriment. Yeah, Virgo's planet Mercury is in Pisces, and Pisces can be a little overwhelming for Mercury, especially as a detriment. Yeah. So what is this card telling me as a challenge? And again, a negative challenge. It's reminding that there's a potential for risk-taking. I mean, a potential for not... Risk-taking can be a positive thing or a negative thing, right? There are times when we take a risk to achieve something great. Sometimes we take risks as we're being stupid, or we're just doing something foolish. And this is the foolish kind of risk-taking. This is losing gambles. It's also losing the farm in the gamble. You could lose our stuff in gambling as well. Instead of laboring in the fields where we really should be. We should be doing the work, but instead we're trying to gain an extra farm and instead losing the one we have, right? Flawed practices leading to failure. We're not doing what we should be doing right. Maybe we're not playing the gambling game, and maybe we are working in our fields, but the work that we're doing in our fields is not, is flawed. And because of that, it's leading to failure rather than to growth. Not being able to admit when we've made a mistake. So not only are we making mistakes, we're not admitting it either to ourselves or others. And instead, what we do is we double down and try to throw more money in it, try to throw more resources into the problem to fix it. And that's not going to be fixed that way in this card. So this card is reminding us that if reflection on our methods or our assumptions is not done, a self-destructive period of mania, of overreaching, of superstition, of addiction, or manic depression are possible. And so the card is telling us to reflect, to think back, what the hell are we doing right now, right? And Saturn here being the great justice warrior, well, not justice, the great extractor of justice, will be sure that debts are paid here. We're not going to slide through on a free ride. This isn't the card of, it's okay, we can get out, things will work out in the end. Which, I think that leads right into the next card, which was the advice, which was also a reversed card, a reversed major. Yeah, and the reversed major here is the Hierophant. And let me show you the Hierophant upright, because this is the coolest, one of the coolest. All of the cards in this deck are cool. But this really is cool. I mean, okay, yes. So let's see. Yes, this tree with the discs, that is cool, and it's deeply symbolic and meaningful, and yet this is just like in your face cool. Right? Because look at that guy. Look at that guy. He's sitting on a floating disc. He's got 2 feet on 2 other floating discs. He's got one thumb pointing up and one thumb pointing down, indicating both the mother pillar and the father pillar of the tree of life, the pillar of harshness and the pillar of mercy. And beneath this floating Hierophant who's naked with a crown. I love that. I mean, not entirely naked, but pretty much naked. He's got a little thing covering his private parts, and then he's got this crown on his head. I just love that. It's a gorgeous card. And beneath this Hierophant, we have both the male and the female, the sun and the moon, sitting together back to back in what looks to me a rather intimate and romantic, like we're out on a picnic kind of relationship. And then I just noticed, I don't know why I haven't seen these before. You see the sun beneath the Hierophant there? There are 2, I'd never noticed those beasts until today. And I'm not really sure what those beasts are, frankly, because I didn't go back and look at the book after I noticed them. And they could be lions, they could be bears to me, but I think they're probably lions in that old early Renaissance style of lion where the mane is not like a real, what we think of as a lion's mane, but it's this long flowing hair, when perhaps they didn't really know what lions looked like and they were drawing them from other people's descriptions. Anyways, it's gorgeous. And then we have the 4 discs below with what do we have here? We've got the sun in one, we've got one is air, one is the salamander of fire, one looks like water, and one looks like earth. Yeah, we got 4 elements in the discs up there. Down there at the bottom. But then when we turn it over, they're up there in the air, right? So what is the Hierophant? You see the association is Aries. So the Hierophant points to Aries, which is the domicile of Mars, from which these cardinal fire's vital attributes enter our world. We got Aries here. Cardinal Aries, fire, let's get going, which is an interesting attribution for the Hierophant, which we don't generally associate with that kind of attitude with the Hierophant. But we got it here, which is cool. And the Hierophant has shown up for me twice. So this is the 3rd time. But he showed up for me on January 7th and January 28th, which was the last day of my winter camp. But he was upright both of those times. So things showing up twice. Yeah, this page showed up at the end of a very stressful period of my time teaching winter camp. So there was an end of a cycle here. The world. This Hierophant showed up at the very, very end of that period of my working at that winter camp. The end of a cycle. The world. And then they both showed up together today on a real world card significance day. And I'm not really sure what cycle is ending. I can't give you that much. But let's see what I can give you after we look at this card. Now, the Hierophant, again, points to Aries. But also being card number 5, it also points to he. When we think of yod he vav he, now the tetragrammaton, that's right, tetragrammaton, the four-letter unpronounceable name of God, the tetragrammaton. The yod, vav are both the male letters of the name, and both hes are the female letters of the name. And in Hebrew, the he is a feminine ending, a feminine ending. So it indicates feminineness or femaleness, right? And sometimes it's what? Oh, yes. Other attributes are the creation for he, the taking or giving of self, also looking, revealing, breath, maybe like the divine breath of the Newman, the breathing in of life, perhaps, with he. Now, which is interesting for the Hierophant, right? When we think of the Hierophant as the one that sometimes can channel the divine into our realm, I think of the high priestess as the one who draws the divine, the internal divine, the unconscious, the watery divine up from below, and then the Hierophant is one who draws the airy divine, the celestial divine down from above. And of course, there are no real aboves or belows when we talk of the non-physical, because that is an entirely physical attribute and has no meaning outside of physical reality. There are no ins or outs or ups or downs when we get to the non-physical. It's just the one, right? But here, so I think of the Hierophant as the one who draws the divine down into, or is a channel from the above to the below. Whereas the high priestess is the channel from the below to the above. Does that make sense? Okay, so anyways, Raido. Why was I saying? Oh yes, breath. That the Hebrew letter he, breath. The pneumon, the drawing in of spirit into life in the physical body. It could be a little bit of that, right? We also have the rune, which would be Raido, which is shaped like kind of like an R, actually, which is interesting. And attributes for Raido are a new way in life, a new perspective. Often I would think of that for the hanged man, but we've got it here. Development and movement, which I would often think of for the chariot, but we've got it here. Rhythm, cycle, communication, reconciliation. Now, the reconciliation aspect I can definitely see as a Hierophant's attribution, the reconciler. When you think of the Tarot de Marseille, Pope card, which is the 5th card, we see the kind of like this guy, only with more clothes on, standing in front with the triple cross, or either a crozier, and we see 2 maybe acolytes before. And sometimes one way to see the role of the Hierophant there is as a mediator between the 2 sides of, or factions within an institution, like a church, which would be that Raido, reconciliation meaning, right? But what do we have for this card in reverse? Well, when the Hierophant is in reverse, now remember, this is the advice for me, and so some of this, I don't think it's advice, I think it's saying don't do this kind of advice, but the Hierophant in reverse desperately makes up edicts and persecutes charismatic individuals to hide their own incompetence. So the Hierophant, trying to cover up their insecurities and their flaws, their fatal flaws, their what did I just say? Their incompetence. So to cover that up, they start persecuting people who stand out, who stick out. Also, have no personal loyalty or spiritual ethics. The very opposite of what a Hierophant really should be. Yeah. It could also be that the light needs to penetrate into hidden spaces of deals and arrangements and agreements, into those smoke-filled rooms of politics, for example. So only full transparency will address trust issues, I think, is really the advice that this card is giving me. It could also be giving me that the Hierophant, as opposed to a role in the world, that I could be my own internal Hierophant as well. Transparency, yeah, addressing trust issues, that I could channel the divine for myself within myself. That could be another, that could be the advice part of this, to be my own channel of divine wisdom, the divine within, for myself, to bring that, and also maybe the giving, be willing to give of myself to others, instead of being the one who is persecuting the charismatic in an attempt to distract attention away from their own flaws. Give of myself. That would be another thing perhaps to be taken from this card in reverse as Raido. Yeah, those are some possibilities. Maybe. So, what was my day today? Well, today I realized a couple of things. I woke up, had breakfast, I went to the library, did my work there, came back, I'm doing this video. I mean, those are the basics that was the basic structure of my day. I was a little bit tired, but not overly tired. I stayed up pretty dang late last night, and I came up with a spread that I think I'm going to be using for the next at least month or so, for my dive back into how can we live life more intentionally. Yeah. So I've got a spread that I worked out that I think it's what I'm going to do is, and I didn't use the decks that I wanted to use when I was working out the spread, because the decks I want to use are still in play for this deep dive. Two of them are. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to use the Tarot of the Holy Light as the center of the spread. And on one side of the spread, I'm going to use the color version of the Egyptian Tarot. And I think on the other side of the spread, I'm going to use one of the Lo Scarabeo, the Llewellyn version of the Egyptian Tarot, which is very similar in artwork to this one. And I think I will be able to read that one similarly to this one with some slight variations. So now I've got to figure out an oracle deck. I want to pick an oracle deck that will work with these, and I think I know which one, but I need to do a little bit of thinking. I've only got one day actually before I need to throw my first spread, which would be on Monday, the day after I finish the series. So when I go into work on Monday, I'm going to have to pick an oracle and get it ready to work. So I stayed up late last night, futzing, figuring out a spread, and I tried to use the Ace of Cups from the Tarot of the Holy Light as inspiration. I think I did. I worked it out. I think I did. Anyway, so there's that. I did that. But then today, I was talking with two of my friends that I've been mentioning the last couple of days. One is in Indonesia and one is in Thailand. And I came to the realization that and this is where that idea of light going into dark spaces, and maybe that Seven of Discs idea of not betting on things that are not going to work out, of there being flawed practices going on, not direct lies, not evil, not bad stuff, but that there are unseen problems that are right now reflection is being called for about these poorly understood problems or poor unrecognized problems. That's the word I was looking for, unrecognized problems. That which is part of that reversed Seven of Discs thing. And I've noticed that there were some problems to what my friend from Thailand and I were talking about, which made me think that maybe I need to pull back some of the expectations I had for our friendship. And so that's fine. That's fine. But it also means that, so I just needed to get a little bit of clarity, I think, in that area. Also, I think I needed to get a little bit more clarity in the area of my friend from Indonesia as well. That maybe I might be putting eggs in baskets that have big old holes in them. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not. I didn't say that I'm not like sending the money or anything like that. That's not what's going on here at all. It's just that my expectations of what is going on is being called into analysis, not into question, but into analysis. Let's really figure out what's happening here. And that light, they're asking to have light there. Now, remember when I said that whole thing about celebrities celebrities as friends from the world card being like, well, that's way out of left field. Then I realized there are a couple of people in the tarot community who are, I would say, very much more in the range of celebrity than I am. Who one of them, we started chatting, and I was able to be of some, I think, a little bit of service to that friend in the more celebrity level of the tarot universe that I know of. And so I felt really good about that. Not so much about the celebrity, but as being of service to somebody that I admire, and I appreciate this person's work deeply. And what's the other word I'm looking for? With deeply and with pure heart. It's the closest thing I can come to. So being able to be of some help to that person, and it just felt good. It just felt really, really good. And then another person also included me in a group chat of sorts, and that made me feel good, being one of the select few, I guess. So there are those things. And I was doing the Page of Cups a little bit. I was making that spread last night. Doing this now. I guess I kind of did that Page of Cupsness as well. And I think I took the advice of both the Seven of Discs reversed and the Hierophant reversed fairly well today. And I'm not saying that the relationships that I'm discussing are bad relationships, or they're painful relationships, or they need to be cut off, or anything like that. It's just that my expectations about what they are this was a good time to reflect on what they actually are. Right? That makes sense, right? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you. And friends, if you are still here, hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you got something out of this, and other people might get something out of it as well. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. I'm almost at the last video of this series, and then I'll be going to about 3 a week. And you might want to get an alarm notification of when the new videos are up there. I'll be doing one of that spread per week that I just talked to you about. I'll do a shorter one with Tarot de Marseille or antique decks. And then I'll probably go back to maybe doing a weekly spread based video or something, so at least 2, maybe 3 a week. So you might want to get notifications of when I upload those videos. So friends, thank you. Thank you for walking this journey of exploration of the tarot of the Holy Light with me. And it's not the end. It's not the end, because I will be using this deck as I progress through the next lunar cycle with my regular readings on my channel about living life intentionally. So friends, now, thank you. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.